The strategic procurement cycle. This is a topic in today's video that we will be discussing. Essentially speaking, we are going to talk about these strategies and the procurement strategies. So, need to define upon these strategies, the definition of procurement strategies, function and influence of a company's procurement strategies. If a company, what are the parameters that needs to be taken into consideration, and then there are other issues that influences the choice of strategies. So, essentially, what exactly is a strategy? It's nothing but a plan of action. Step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4, step 5 till you achieve the goals. So it's a plan of action designed to achieve a specific goals. The pic that has been shown in this particular video actually elaborates the fact that we have a mean that needs to be discussed and the end that we want to achieve as such. In between is the nitty gritty that needs to be flown around, deployed, and probably in how do we achieve it. So, this bridge that needs to be talking around it. So, necessary precondition for formulating a strategy is a clear and a widespread understanding of objectives or ends to be obtained. Without this aims in view, action is purely tactical and can quickly degenerate into nothing more than a falling about, as the case might be. So, when do we start? Exactly speaking, when do we start? Yeah, first and foremost thing is the announcement, the potential bidders, the announce information technology, the required project that needs to be talking about it is a mandatory startup meeting with procurement services, as the case might be. We are looking out here and nothing beyond this. So essentially, the contract management lifecycle steps into 6 steps. First and foremost thing is the procurement strategy. Which one we do we produce or select? Specifying the activity under that process, drafting and issuing the tender document inviting the bidders to come for the quotation, evaluating the bids that has been presented, decision and implementation, monitoring of the contract informations and the performances that we are looking out here. So exactly speaking, this is the way that we come across with it, right from selecting of the procurement strategies, specifying the activities, drafting, issuing tenders, evaluating bids, decisions and implementation thereby. So what is all that we are looking in this presentation? Nothing but selecting of procurement strategies, nothing but the selection. And how do we go around it? Remember, strategic analysis, strategic choice, and strategic implementations goes hand in hand, right from the analysis part to the choice that you opt for one particular base and the implementation. They go hand in hand, and be prepared for a change. At any point of time, be prepared to change the strategic choice, because you don't know what the market is requiring. You don't know whether resources are available or not. You are not aware about what are the constraints that is might be faced during implementation process. So be prepared, be flexible, and that is we need to understand the continuous flow about it. So what are the various influences that comes around it? 7 influences. First and foremost thing is your objective, is your overall goal, because without the goal you don't stand to make a strategy in the first place. The goal is akin to the demand. The demand might be good enough, might be lukewarm enough, might be very productive, might be very incentivized. You decide upon it. The supply market, the availability of it, the cost involved around it. And then there are some things which are non-monetary in nature. It might be talking about only a reputation that you want to build upon. It might be only the goodwill that you want to generate upon, the risk associated with it, and the various stakeholders with whom you have to join hands so that the implementation becomes much more smoother. Now, these are the influences on the procurement strategies per se. Every one of us should pertinently give vital importance and to every steps out there, be it objective, demand, supply market, cost, non-cost factor, risk and stakeholders. So procurement objectives is ensure contract fulfill all necessary. What are the technical requirements? What are the financial requirements? What are the timely delivery requirement? 3 contracts fulfill all necessary technical, financial, and the time delivery requirements. Keep overall cost as minimal as possible as on when on basis. Procurement demand is where you need to estimate the actual expenditure that is required for the supplier. Let's say from 1 year to another year, what are your forecast? From one quarter to another quarter, what are your forecasts and how do you want to deploy the resources? Who are the main users, the group, the department, the countrywide? You need to tell it out. You need to point it out. You need to understand the demand cycle, which might be steady, which might be steadily growing, which might be steadily stable, which might be cyclic in nature, which might be seasonal, all of our simply put, supply or a bundle with a service attached as on the when on the case basis. Now let us talk about the supply market. How do we go with the competitive rivalry within the industry? Is it the bargaining power of the supplier? Is it the bargaining power of the buyers? Is it the threatenings of the new entrant or the substitute product as the case might be? What are the answers or what are the questions that we must try to figure out the answer? First in the market structure is how many suppliers are there and what are their sizes with their product differentiations. Plentiful of market suppliers, then there are no much more competition. Probably there is much more competition because everybody is going to eye for a small pie in the market share. So you need to understand what are the technicalities. Is it a complex operation? What are the margins involved into it? What are the levels of product differentiation? Talking about competition, how do supplier compete? Is it on price? Is it on quality? Is it on service? Is it on customers requirement? We need to understand such things, the barriers towards the entry, the market trends, the expected change in the technology, what is the product life cycle and how does the product fizzles out. His product needs to be relaunched again and again. The supply market is all about how logistics are being fared upon it. Are you getting too dependent on your contractor? Are you depending too much on your supply chain to make your business viable? What are the typical delivery methods, transportation method, and who are going to service the end customer per se? You need to understand and pinpoint, figure out everything in the supply chain issues per se. Then is all about your new products or the substitute product which can hamper the growth of your company. Probably will not be able to figure it out, but you should have an inkling onto it as where the market is trending. So yes, we talk about a new product. Yes, we talk about a substitute. Yes, what company's market share is the customers and how attractive is the company as a customer. How do we look into it? The cost factor, if you look at an iceberg, the tip of an iceberg is just that tip. Believe me or not, the cost is hidden below, as the iceberg is the maximum mass of an iceberg is below the sea level. It's all about the initial investment, operating cost, energy consumption, spares, maintenance, training. We are talking about disposal cost thereby. If we are looking into it, what are the initial investment, operating cost, how does the energy consumption figures out, what are the spares, how availability of spares are there, how much availability of spares are available out here, what are the maintenance, what are the training cost, the disposal cost that we look into it. Apart from the monetary cost, then there are non-monetary costs, the non-cost factor. We are talking about technical specification. We are talking about compliance issue. We are talking about industry norms. We are talking everything which is specific to a certain segment that comes around it. Compliance with contractual terms and condition as on when on basis, the reliability and the financial standing, which is very important and one needs to take into account as to what exactly has been done every now and then. So that is the legal issue, the intellectual property right, the reliability, the financial stability of the functions of the supplier that comes around it, the reputation that you want to build upon, the goodwill that can be dented upon. So you need to have those compliance issues, and compliance need not be only to the sperm specific but also to your vendors. It can impact the vendor's operation. So yes, how do we figure out, come up with a decision? We need to look at the risk factor. If the risk is very high, impact is very high, if the likelihood of happening is very high, we should manage as has been done with the red segment of this 9 quadrant matrix that has been, you people are seeing in front of the videos. The red matrix, the 9 quadrant matrix, the red things wherein the impact is high and the likelihood of happening it is also high. You have to have must manage and monitor the risk. Whereas the impact is extremely low and the likelihood of happening is also extremely low. You can accept the risk as the green factor quadrant. Then comes the in between factors. If you look into the five quadrants that comes around it, you should be able to consider taking risk when the impact is high and the likelihood of happening is very low. This is the quadrant that I'm talking about. Should be able to take a risk out here. But what happens if the impact is very high and likelihood of happening is also very low? Obviously, it's a good thing, but then always keep a tab on upon it. You never know what can goes around it. So that is what we need to understand. Similarly, for likelihood of happening is very high and the impact is low, you can, or should I say, you can accept the risk of monitor. Probably you can accept and you can go for it. Similarly, when the likelihood is very high and impact is very low, you should take the risk out here. And in between, the central quadrant is always to be managed as on when on basis. So degree of risk, what are we talking about in terms of risk? There are something called a length of the time, the difficulty of situation in securing a supply. Standard risk is low risk, where everything is available, amply available elsewhere in the market. So off the shelf industrial products, the pick has been shown to you for your business, for your understanding. Similarly, non-standard products which are specific to your requirements, specific to your product. Here comes a medium risk which can be produced with an existing manufacturing, or another manufacturing system, or the another vendor has to be trained to go around it without an experience. So there is a medium risk. But what about new high-tech product which you are watching it out here? Absolutely, this is a high risk zone. Probably here you need a conceptual design phase. You need to have an expertise over a field where you have to go around with it. So key stakeholders are HSE, wherein identifying stakeholders is the concern altogether. If we are looking into the technical expert as on when on basis, we are talking about the health safety executives as an SE is concerned, technical expert is concerned, legal service or the lawyers are concerned, end users are concerned. We are talking about, this was all about internal thing, the safety issues, the health expert, the technical expert, the legal expert. These are internal stakeholders. What about identifying external stakeholders? There are local citizen, local community, the society in which you are working upon, certification body, the host state authorities, the federal government, the provincial government, the member state, the collaborating institute. They have to be figured around as well. This needs to be spoken around. Now comes the other issues that influences the choice. The last things about the procurement strategies. We have spoken about the strategies definition, the procurement definition of the strategies, the company's requirement for these strategies, functional strategies, and now we are talking about the other influences per say. The resources and procedures is all complex. At times you have to take decision in the split of a second. Should you go for make purchase or purchase? Basically, you are building it on your own premises, or you're subletting or getting it done from somebody else. Do you have the availability of key personnel? These are things that needs to be taken care of. Rules and procedures, estimated amount, price inquiry, invitations to tender, single sources, sources of funding, company budget code, visiting them, the federal company approvals that needs to be pending. If there are any regulatory body that needs to be satisfied, you have the compliance issues around it. Please go ahead and get the things done, sort it out. Best value for money or the lowest compliant bid, urgency of the requirement as the case might be, standard or non-standard. What happens with the functional specification is off the shelf, absolutely non-standard. It's about everything that can be produced with an existing techniques, or should I say is amply available in the market. This is a pick that I've already given it to you, which is a famous story of for five men, blind men who were given a way to analyze the elephant, and everybody had different aspect to analyze, and their aspect came up with a different startling result. So that is what functional specification was all about it. This, what we are talking is the blueprint of coming into the novel product, the new product, where there are non-standard products, where industry has neither required know-how or interest, or probably this is a new strategy, the new product that is being tinkered away by the company. So there are prototypes, there are pro series that is to be required. You need to understand it new to understand what is happening out. So do we go for a standard product? Non-standard products, remember the barriers to entry in a non-standard product is very high. People will not be able to mimic you, copy you very easily, as the case might be. If you look at the five blind men, everybody is describing the elephant as a fan, as a spear, as a snake, as a tree, as a wall, as a rope. Whatever you want to go around it, you will see it's just one product, but everybody has got different viewpoints altogether. So dual sourcing, what are the best option? Should we go for dual sourcing, the purchase options? Probably yes. Should we go for manufacturing or contracting? Probably yes, probably no. You need to understand the risk defined upon yourself. If the industry has no experiences, probably go ahead with your own manufacturing, or at least train your vendors accordingly to the requirement of the company. These are the evaluation risks that you need to carry every now and then. With this, I come to the new procurement strategy decisions topic, to the culmination point. I hope everybody is clear with what we were discussing around it. Thank you for watching this video till the end.